Yo, it's your boy Vega Bomber, and welcome to Vega Bomber Land. So yes, I've seen yet another movie, and that movie is Creed. Another movie in the line of the Rocky installment, if you will, but it's not Rocky 7. So, Creed stars Sylvester Stallone as Rocky, of course, Michael B. Jordan as Adonis Creed, who we find out is the illegitimate son of Apollo Creed. Also, Tessa Thompson, who plays the love interest for this Adonis Creed, who ends up being called Donnie throughout most of the movie. And Phylicia Rashad, who is the stepmom for Adonis Creed. So the synopsis is this. Adonis Creed grows up in juvie until his stepmom comes and gets him out. And the one thing that we know about this kid up front is that he just loves to fight. But his stepmom is trying to say to him, listen, that's what you do when you have no other way out. But you're smart, you're good, there's other things that you can do. So we get to see that. We get to see him trying to do things that maybe don't necessarily play into who he wants to be, maybe doesn't excite him. So this is what's happening in LA. He secretly dreams as he watches tons of old footage of fights between his dad, Apollo Creed, and Rocky, and just dreams about being back in the ring and fighting for a living. So he leaves LA and goes to Philadelphia to meet Rocky so that he could talk Rocky into training him. And that's basically your movie. Now, the interesting thing about this is that you've got Adonis, a man without a family or a legacy or anything other than a legacy of his dad, who he's the illegitimate son of. And then you've got Rocky, who at this point, everybody in his life is gone. So you got an older man, a Ben Kenobi type, if you will, with nobody else really around to live for and to pour into, if you will. And then you got a younger man, Adonis, a lot like Luke, I guess, if you will, still waiting to live out his life and be what he could be. But he really just wants to fight. And that's what we get. We get the rise of this cat with Rocky training him. That's basically your synopsis. So what are the props in this film? And the props, as you know, are the parts of the film that are outstanding. Well, this has several props. Number one would be the cinematography. And this is not in any particular order, but just how I remember it. Now, the cinematography was absolutely masterful. The way, I think there's a scene, one of the first fight scenes in the movie, seems like it's one long cut because the camera's following Adonis as he goes into the ring, and if there were any edits, they had to have done it in the shadows because I just couldn't see it. So just from a cinematography feel, LA looked like LA, but Philly was gritty and looked like Philly. I would also say the sound in this film was great. The sound design, whenever you see those jabs punch out there, and when there was a connection, whenever there was a hit that landed, something that hit the jaw sounded like something hitting the jaw. Something that hit the body sounded like something hitting the body. It would be two different sounds. Well, that was there. Plus, then you could say the soundtrack also was very, very good. It was the old touching the new and the new touching the old in terms of how they did the sound. And when you hear Rocky music, you're ready to get up. You're ready to... you're ready to throw a couple of those, right? Shadow box and do your own thing. So that was good. Now, the acting was also impeccable in this film. Most people have already commented that Rocky, Sylvester Stallone's acting was incredible. And it was, because usually he's the director and the writer and also the filmer in the film. That's a lot going on. In this film, since he didn't direct it he didn't write it, he could just concentrate on just acting. And I'll tell you, Stallone has some scenes where you do start to water up a bit because, it's impotent. You invest in him. He was Rocky. He wasn't Sylvester Stallone playing Rocky. He was Rocky. And then Michael B. Jordan, definitely, once again, a standout. If it wasn't for Fruitvale Station, if that didn't do it for him and put him on the map, this movie should, because he was there. There's a scene in this movie where he's angry and he's mad enough because he felt like he was abandoned in a way by Rocky. And he's trying to fight back the tears. You know how you don't want to let other people know they got you? So you're trying to fight back the tears, but at the same time, you're too erratic at the moment. You're too emotional, and just to him trying to hold back the tears and show you the intensity on his face, yet at the same time not cry. Come on, man. Come on. It was there. So Michael B. Jordan nailed it. Now, Tessa Thompson plays his girlfriend. You might remember her from Dear White People. She was good. The love interest. great, but the film's mostly about the fighting, so I really want to see more of that. And the fighting isn't like a ton of fighting, but when it does happen, it's good. And so that was good that they balanced that out. And I thought Tessa Thompson was definitely fine. She was a strong character. She was in his corner, and I like seeing that. When two people get together and they got each other's back, that's a very cool thing to see. Now, I'd also say that Phylicia Rashad was in this movie, Mrs. Cosby, and she was phenomenal. In fact, that leads me to my only eye roll in this movie. That's right. The only eye roll I have in this movie is that Phylicia Rashad wasn't in it enough. When it needed to be dramatic, when she was talking to Adonis on the staircase, she was there. And she got you to feel her weight. And then when she was funny in the film, because when he went ahead and did things anyway, and she had to watch it on film and just her comments, it was great. It was great. So this movie was outstanding. So what's my rating system on this? What do I rate this film? Well, as you know, in Vega Bomber Land, it's a pass or fail system. Either a movie is blown up, which is a good thing, or a movie just needs to be blown up, detonated, because it just doesn't need to exist. It's taking up space. But I would say Creed is definitely blown up. And in fact, I will say that this is probably the best movie I've seen this year. And I think a lot of Straight Outta Compton and Mad Max. But I think right now, in my sound mind, if it's even sound this late tonight, I think I'm going to put Creed just a little bit ahead of it. So if you haven't seen Creed, don't jog, sprint to the movie theater, get the popcorn, right? Get your tickets first, get the popcorn, sit down. Let the movie just tell you its story, because it's just that good. It's your boy Bomber, and I'm out. You.